I'm Gail Miller. Welcome to my Aged Care Mythbuster series. Today we're busting aged care myth number 10, and it's that I can look after mum or dad myself. You may be able to, but for a lot of families the reality is it's just plain too hard. One of the issues is that in our Australian culture, mostly we're not used to having several generations in the one household, so that in itself is a change. There's also the issue that for people my age who've got adult children, we're actually not used to getting up at night, maybe several times at night. A family I know moved dad in with them. He was in his early 90s, and according to a couple of family members, they had made a pact that they would never put him into an aged care home. This friend of mine doesn't recall that conversation, but her siblings absolutely swore black and blue that's what they said. So they were going to have him for a couple of months each. When my friend took her turn, suddenly they were in a situation where dad needed to go to the toilet twice every night. So her husband was having to take him to the toilet 2 or 3 times. It's like having a baby in the house again. By the end of their stint, one of them had shingles. They were so run down and exhausted and overwhelmed with what was going on that it actually took a toll on their own health. They were almost 70 at the time, so that was really, really tricky. So quite often it isn't a viable option because it's a 24/7 thing. It's not like spending a few hours with a loved one and then going home to your home. So it can be tricky. The result is carer burnout. Carer burnout, if my information is correct, is now listed as a Medicare item number because the government have recognised it is such a huge issue that the people who are caring for someone whose health is declining as they're getting older quite often will end up either needing to be hospitalised and in some case dying before the person they're caring for. So carer burnout is huge, and quite often they don't realise there's an issue, but the people around them do. Everybody can see what's happening to the carer. We've actually had 2 instances of this just in our street over the last few years, where one partner was caring for the other one probably for about 3 years too long before they moved into care, and the toll it takes is absolutely huge. There's a huge guilt around putting somebody into aged care too. The person that needs to make that decision doesn't want to have to make that decision because quite often they've been married for decades, and as one lady said to me, when I took my marriage vows, it was till death us do part. She didn't realise that the way things were going, she was potentially going to die before her husband, who she was looking after. And there's a grief surrounding putting somebody into care too. Nobody likes going through the grief of watching a parent or a partner decline, potentially watching their memory fade away, watching the signs of dementia roll in, and watching the retirement that they thought they were going to have go down the gurgler. So there's a whole lot of issues involved. Think very seriously before you move a family member in with you. Think long and hard. Please stay tuned, and we're going to bust aged care myth number 11 very shortly.